Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm here today to present how face recognition and artificial intelligence can be used combined with Sitecore and how that combination can be used to elevate your physical stores, your physical channels, or your online channels mutually, actually. Okay, let's start by talking a little bit about myself briefly. My name is Rodrigo Peplau. I'm here on my Twitter account. I work for Niche Tech as a Sitecore solution architect. I have 10 years of Sitecore development experience, and I've been awarded with the Sitecore Technology MVP 4 times. I also proudly got twice winner of the Sitecore Hackathon with the Go Horse team, which is a great honor for me. If you have a look on how the Go Horse process works, you will understand how we're winning. Also, outside of the IT, I am lead singer of rock and roll bands. I have a couple albums recorded, and last year I've been awarded by the community as the karaoke performer by singing in the city walk. Yes, that was a karaoke bar in the place with a real band, and I had great guys with us enjoying the night. Okay, with that beginning, I'd like to go ahead and talk about why face recognition, why we choose this topic, what this technology has to offer to the Sitecore ecosystem, and in special to offline channels. Face recognition allows you to identify contacts in a non-intrusive and very intuitive way. So in normally you authenticate or identify contacts when they authenticate to your website. For that, of course, they need to log in and your website and input their website, the login password, or connect with a social network, which is something that is a bit intrusive. With face recognition, contacts can be identified with images of their faces. This opens a wide range of possibilities for offline channels. Face recognition is very cool, isn't it? It enables higher immersion for your customer experiences. For a company, this can be an interesting way to demonstrate expertise and commitment with new technologies. In special because of this wow factor, it is something important to demonstrate this commitment with new technologies. It can be used combined with other IoT devices and sensors to produce very unique experiences. And here it depends on your creativity to go out and look for ways to do that in your business. There's always a way to combine sensors and IoT devices with face recognition and do it amazing experiences to your customers. Face recognition makes Sitecore bend to individuals, effectively addressing the own slogan of this year's symposium, Human Connections in a Digital World. After all that, you may think that I'm talking about something expensive, but I'm not. Face recognition is cheap and simple. It does not require much for you to get started. The demo that I'll present today, for instance, it uses a cheap Raspberry computer and a 10 years old webcam. The rest is basically software, which is normally cheaper than hardware-based solutions, and especially when you have to design your own hardware. Next, you'll see how face recognition can be used to integrate with any Sitecore implementation. In particular, when you have a big XDB data amount, like analytics, years and years of analytics, it's very important if you have that because face recognition can be used as a way to identify your contacts to provide them things based in their history. So for that, I would like to show here the case of Books and Course. Books and Course is a very successful online bookstore. They have a great Sitecore website, and they have a marketing team that is very creative on using all features of Sitecore, like personalization, MV tests, email campaigns, marketing automation. So they have great data in their analytics in their XDB, but their physical stores are still not taking the full advantage of that success. So they started to think how they can improve that, how they can make and encourage the online users to step in their physical stores. The company chose face recognition as an answer, and this is how the smart bookshelf was created to scan faces and provide books recommendations. Books and Cores wants to have multiple smart bookshelves, and this is why I'm bringing these slides to show how that will connect inside Sitecore. So when they have multiple smart bookshelves, they can have them in different cities, in different places, and have their physical channel being identified by a different channel ID basically. When a face is scanned in one of these channels, the interaction is created by using that channel. So that way everything goes inside Sitecore in the analytics reports, and you have access to all that information so you can use that later to do more things like personalization. The company also can choose to, in the special occasions, for instance, in the special dates or special contacts in special occasions, they can register goals and outcomes for that occasion, so that they can have that more refined metadata in their analytics to do more things inside Sitecore, like personalizations and all that good stuff. Of course, how that goes in the analytics reports, and that's a great way to keep control over all that. The Smart Bookshelf uses the online behavior of the visitors to provide book recommendations. Here we have two frequent visitors. As you know, each of them will have different tastes for books, and all that can be expressed in their online behavior, being that a page visit, a page view, or a like or dislike, or add to a wish list, or add to the shopping cart. All that can be used as a way to feed and get output for personalization to get book recommendations. As you know, all that analytics data is stored on XDB, and we are also feeding AWS Personalize, which is the API we choose as the artificial intelligence recommendation system. They even have already a section at the website where the recommendations are given. The Smart Bookshelf will use that analytics data to recommend books. Beside the traditional rules-based personalization, that is what they are doing in the previous component, we also developed a second component. Here we have artificial intelligence to give us the top 5 books for this contact, of course. Okay, we'll begin by displaying the way that you get inside the system. Of course, you have to sign in. The user will register by filling this form. After the registration, he will be able to upload the picture, and here is where it starts to be important. You see this blue checkbox. Here is where the user is telling the system, is giving his permission to have his picture used for face recognition. When he does that, this pop-up will appear to show exactly what we are doing with that data, to make sure that the user knows and is conscious about the way that we're using his data for face recognition. Okay. Let me start here talking about the book recommendation strategies. Here, of course, is the heart of the system. Uh, that is the recommendation. As you know already, face recognition goes to identified user, but how can we provide the recommendations? Basically, we have two versions of that strategy, and we have then word combined. View one that was presented in London. It is based in Sitecore personalization. It is rules based and gives you as an output the top three genres. V2, we're debuting here in Orlando, provides actually top five books, not just top three genre, which is more granular, right? Is based on artificial intelligence. We use cognitive services and AWS personalized. I'll speak about the role of each of these two APIs in the next slides. But let me start about talking about version one, which is rules based. We are talking about the normal personalization that you have in Sitecore. Everybody is used to that. Here we have screenshot of the content tree. We have the genre, uh, like anthology, biography, drama, all that. Those are pages inside core, and below then we have as children, we have the books themselves, and we link that with marketing profiles with the same name. So we have anthology as a page and anthology as a marketing profile, and so on and so forth. We link them by having content authors going to the genre page and selecting the appropriate uh, profile card. It is already possible by the users are navigating to track down their contacts, the preferences in experience profile. Here, for instance, you can check how each of their contacts likes the genre that you see on screen. This is out of the box inside core, right? All right. A custom Sitecore component, like I mentioned, this component is used to display the list of books in for the preference for the preference expressed during the visit. This is V1 again, okay? It's rules based. Well, it gets a book genre as a data source item, and when it renders the listed books, we're adding three instances of the same component in your layout details, because we want to present top one, two, and top three genre. Okay, so top one, two, and three. We have, like I said at the beginning, it is rules based. So basically, you use rules to do that. You have different variations, and a custom rule is used here to give you top one, two, or three profiles for each of for the current user contact. Okay, you can have all that in the end of this presentation. I will bring references to all that, so it's not a secret. Okay, here we have the content exploded itself, like the rules exploded, where you can see that I am selecting the poetry as a profile key and top two, best two. It's nothing new, okay? Let me speak about version two, which is based in artificial intelligence. Uh, we are using basically two APIs, AWS Personalized and Cognitive Services. AWS Personalized we use for the recommendations, and we always, like any artificial intelligence API, uh, you want to have first your API trained so it can give like meaningful recommendations. And the minimum you need is to begin is having users, items, and interactions schemas, like describing the schema, the fields of each of your entities, right? It's all in a. It will all be in a different in a blog post that you have access in the end. You also need 25 unique users with 2 interactions each, and 1,000 unique interactions. In my case, I had to generate some contacts and interactions, and that is in the historical data part of the training. So remember, I told that books and course they have a big XDB data amount of data there. So we had to export that data, but since it's fictional, I had to generate contacts and interaction. Of course, I created some meaningful contacts and interactions, not only random ones, but that was one thing I had to start doing. Also, I exported all that, as 3 different CSV files, one for the books, one for the users, which is known contacts, and one for the interactions, which is the page views in that case. Next, we load and train, of course. After that, we can make our model become a solution, which is used to generate to give your recommendations. But not only historical data, we need to keep the API training in constant training, of course. So as your site is accessed and used, you want to have all that information feeding the web API, the artificial intelligence API, for continuous model improvement. And we are logging here basically using a web API to collect that information. We're logging different event types. We're logging each of them have different scores. Book visits. We have like a page view. We have like dislikes. We have add to wish list. We have add to shopping cart. We have purchases. Of course, if you purchase something, you don't want to have that recommendation because you already own that object. So why, right? Right. We also are doing some refining in the recommendations by using emotions analysis. Okay, and we do that by using 2 different techniques. This is where cognitive services starts to be used. So for emotional analysis, the first thing is to analyze my books, all books I have on my database. I will use the text available on the books to have emotional analysis of that and extract the emotion out from the book. And I save all that as part of the content of the book. Later, when the face is scanned, I use the cognitive services face to do the face analysis and try to figure out if the user has what is the current mood for the user. Okay, so if it's positive, negative, or neutral, basically. When I have the 2 informations, in one hand, the face ID, I will say the face emotion, and in the other hand, the book's emotions, I can use that to refine the recommendations. All right, so let me show a little bit about the smart bookshelf, what it is, how it works, and all that. Like I said at the beginning, the purpose is to provide book recommendations, but how it works. Visually, it's just like any other smart bookshelf, normal bookshelf, except that it has a screen in the middle and a monitor and a webcam. By having those 2 things, we can make the magic happen. We are arranging books on according to their genre and surrounding, as you can see, the screen. We are also attaching some LED strips to each of these genre so that we can light up the genre that we want to provide the recommendation. This way, the user is have like a visual feedback on the genre that is the recommendation for. Okay. All right, so here is a small demonstration about how the detection loop works. Because the smart bookshelf will stay in a loop trying to look for a known face. Well, if no face is found or the choice of the face in front of the camera is not to be recognized, then it will stay in the loop. But if a face is found, we'll finally send that information to a cloud API, which in this case is Kairos. Kairos was the choice because it works well, and also when the project started, it used to have a free tier of 1,500 transactions a day, which is not the case anymore. But luckily, there are multiple options out there in the market that can be used as a replacement, such as Microsoft Face and Amazon Recognition. The system, when the API recognize that face, it will give back a face ID, which is the identifier for that contact, which we use to then identify the contact inside Sitecore, to have the books displayed on screen and also in a browser and also to a JSS client to have the LED light numbers provided as JSON, so that we can show the books on the screen and have the LED LEDs lights turning on. Okay, let me show in details the detection loop, and for that I will ease our life by displaying this first part of the loop, which is responsible for detecting that I will call the face detection. It is just the only purpose here is to detect that the object in front of the camera is a face and not something else. And also to draw a yellow square around the face, so that the user has that visual feedback. And it's a local API that can be called very often. But later, when I have that face, and the purpose of the API, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell, is to have a good picture, a picture that is not blurred, a picture that is good enough for face recognition. And then we send that face, that picture, to the web API that is responsible for identifying if the user is allowed. If the user is allowed, we will identify the contact using the Face ID and show the recommendations on screen, blink the LEDs, and wait a number of seconds or minutes to start again the process. All right, let me show you what happens behind the bookshelf, behind the scenes. So it uses a Raspberry Pi as a computer. It's just a client. It doesn't need to be powerful because it communicates with Sitecore. It runs a Windows IoT Core and a UWP application that has been produced by our team, by Roberto, our great member of our team that produced that. It responsible for the face detection loop. It also has a monitor and a camera and very important, a cable network with Sitecore, which it happens because Windows IoT does not support Wi-Fi, unfortunately. The Raspberry Pi also controls a relay module that is responsible for turning on and off LED strips. The reason we need this is because LED strips requires 12 volts to light up, while Raspberry can only work with 5 volts. And while trying that, I burned my first Raspberry. So that's the way I learned I need the relay module. The relay module for that. Okay, so here is where we start the demo. Let's bring some faces to the stage and see the thing happening on reality. Okay, so after this demo, thank you very much. After this demo, we'll show what else can be achieved with the evolution of this technology. What can be done? How can we get a better smart bookshelf? So, recommendation feedback is the first thing I would like to see show as one good thing to improve. Because nowadays we're just providing the book recommendation and we're not doing anything to retrofeed the API with that. So let's say we let the camera on to see what is the reaction of the user for my recommendation. That can be used to improve and have even better recommendations in the future. Bookstore heat maps. I know most of you are familiar with the concept of heat maps, in special in sites, okay, websites. So you can do that in real life if you have multiple bookshelves spread, around a big area. You can show and like have a heat map build up, so you can detect cold areas and solve that problem because cold areas are bad for sales. You can also have more facets being used to improve the recommendation, like the genre, the age, and all that things. We also can take advantage of Cortex architecture to keep the AI model in constant improvement. And this is where today I am tracking down individually each event when they happen. And instead of that, we can use Cortex to periodically upload bulks of multiple events instead of being relying on the submission as it happens. Okay, so here I would like to bring this slide to show how face recognition can be used in conjunction to other sensors and IoT devices. Here in this example, I am imagining this, what I call the smart display showcase. So it's just again a normal showcase, except that it has a screen and a webcam, but also we have addition of sensors. The sensors are there to detect when an object that is on it is manipulated. So as a contact, as a person manipulates one of these objects, we will trigger the display to show on the display details about the object that the person is hanging. Okay, like the name, the reviews, the overview, and things like that. And also, face recognition will be used to bring some historical data that is important for the user. For instance, if the user already owns one of these, I would say one of these similar products, this information can be displayed for the user. So here I would like to, what I'm trying to do here is to show that it's actually not the smart bookshelf or not just the smart display showcase, but also is your problem that can be solved with face recognition and a bunch of other objects that can be compiled and use combined for the benefit of your offline channels. All right. So actually, this is a big subject. So the reason I am having I had a hard time to compile a 45 minutes presentation, and for that I have consolidated a list of links here with all the things that I put together during this time, and also some other things that I will put together later. Okay, the first link is the most important because it is the references page. I will keep this page updated with new stuff that are going to be produced still. and also more things that are not in this list of these slides. But also we have source code for the Raspberry Pi client, the one that implements the loop, the face identification loop. That's open source. There is also a couple modules. So we have one module for face recognition with Sitecore, which was the hackathon winner this year. Here's the GitHub of it. And also there is one module for text emotion analysis, the one that we use for the text analytics for emotion analysis, right? There is also a bunch of blog posts, like one blog post about privacy concerns with face recognition. So the usage of face recognition in the light of GDPR and all that things, what you can do, what you cannot do with face recognition, and how the advanced tagging with Sitecore Cortex is used with text analytics for emotion analysis. We have also some small things that we use during this demo, like how to programmatically visit a page, how to find the top one, two, or three, or n profile key. It's a condition, the one that I mentioned during the presentation. Also, we have a few videos here. There is a promo video for the smart bookshelf. So if you want to see the smart bookshelf in action, it's a 4 minutes video. I recommend you see the first one. The version one of this current presentation was presented in London, is also here. The XConnect face login that was the winner of the hackathon. The video is here as well. And also a lot of things still to come. So that's all I got. And I would like to thank you for everybody for coming. Keep on tuned for more things to come on NicheTech's blog and also my personal blog, also feeding both with lots of good information. That's all I have. Thank you very much. I would like to open for questions. That's it.